People of God, y'all doing okay? I'm doing all right. Long day. Today's a Theology Thursday, and we are talking about the grooming. Your church may be grooming you, all right? And they're pretty good at it. They've been doing it a long time. It may not be your church, but somebody's church, somebody you know is being groomed right now. I was done with the TD Jake stuff. I was so done yesterday. I'm like, okay, we're done. How much more can we talk about this stuff? But my spirit is vexed because since this story came out, so many people have been talking about how they too have been through some stuff. It doesn't matter. It does matter, but whether he did it or whether he did not do it, the fact that he was associating with these people and then the world turned on him, it caused us to talk about it so that victims and survivors can talk about it. So today, I want to continue the conversation on the aspect of grooming, and there will be a video on Patreon popping up at 9:05 or 9:10 or 10:10 your time. All right, let's get into this subject so that we can help some people out there. I'll see you in 60.
You're good. You're good. You're good. Don't stop it.
Bass.
It's the show that will get you thinking, and where the topics are hot. Feel free to comment whether we agree or not, 'cause he's got something to say.
Sirwalterj Jones. Sirwalterj Jones.
He's got something to say. Sirwalterj Jones.
Sirwalterj Jones.
Reporting live 7 days a week, always on time, but this time is not free. Sirwalterj Jones, always on sleep. Latest trending topics had you jumping out your seat.
He's got something to say.
Come on in. The water's fine.
Hello, everybody. Sirwalterj Jones Show. I'm here. It is the evening edition, baby. Come on in. The water's fine. Water's fine. Listen, those of you who are bunkers out there, Pecan, our dear sister Sheila Davis, we know her as Pecan Delight. Her mother passed. Just please, you and the bunkers, pray for me. My mother just passed, but she's fine now and at peace. Sheila Davis, you all bunkers, please pray for Sheila and Sheila Davis and the whole family. You'll see her name in the comment section under Pecan Delight. We do love her. We thank her for her support of our ministry, and I know what it feels like to lose a mother, like many of you do as well. So let's keep her lifted up in prayer so that the Lord will comfort her in this time of need. All right? I know you all will. You all are really great at doing that. So I'm going to see if I can do something with this. Your church may be grooming you. All right? I have experiences, really bad ones in church. Bad ones. There was a pastor who became a bishop who would talk to me. He would try to get close to me, but I don't like getting that close to authority. All right, this is my testimony. I don't like getting close to authority because it can turn out to be very unhealthy. Because I know what grooming is, I just don't get close to none of them. I don't care who they are. I just don't. I feel uncomfortable doing it. One man, I was in his office talking to him. We were shooting the breeze. And he just up and asked me, so they tell me that you like men and women. And I looked at him like, are you crazy? Who told you that lie? If anything, I was known as the hoe. If anything, I was a womanizer. If anything, I was a church pimp and all of terms that women like to use, the mother's board like to use on me, but they didn't realize, or they found out, that their daughters were the ones who were putting their numbers and panties in my pocket. Mother Mayhem, your daughter is the hoe. What you calling me? Brothers, keep your pants zipped. Yeah, but can you tell your daughter it's best that she put on pants and not those Kojic apostolic blue jean skirts. Y'all telling them don't put on these pants is because the Bible says that which pertaining to a man and all this stuff. Listen, y'all don't think, how far removed from society are you? Tell them to put on the pants, not the skirts, because you don't understand what's happening in the boiler room. You don't understand what's happening in the loft, in the choir room, in the restroom, out back, in the shack, in the storm drain. The skirt is easy access. You tell them to don't go to the church picnic, but with the skirts, those were easy access because your daughters don't put on panties. So they put on these skirts. Long, drawn, the train field is the temple. That's easy access for brothers like me. So we took them in the basement and we had our way, and none the wiser. So you should have told them to put on pants, not the skirts. You don't realize that you were setting it up. So y'all call us these pimps and hoes at the church, but your daughters was the freaky ones who was getting us in trouble. All right. I went on a soapbox. I went that way. So this man was saying, I heard you like boys and girls, or men and women. I'm like, no, I'm not into that. And he looked at me with them eyes. I said, oh, no. And I changed the subject. And he tried something else, and I changed the subject. Later on, he tried something, and I changed the subject. And he realized, okay, I can't get through to this brother. I didn't think he was hitting on me because I looked to him as someone who just wasn't that way. A few years later, I'm having a conversation with him again in a room, and he asked that question again. Then I got it. Then I understood. He was trying to get in, but my walls is not just high and wide. My walls are thick. My walls are too thick. Prophet Manasseh made a statement a couple of days ago. I played it on the first show I did on Jake's. The next day I said, Prophet Manasseh is talking about Jake's. You all said, nah, he never said Jake's. He just was being general. Listen, for a person who have been groomed, I know what that was. Especially when he got to the end, when he started to talk about these leaders, and you notice he began to tear up and he began to get angry. I said, notice on the show, I said, he's a victim. He's a victim. Like me, he escaped physical harm, but mentally, he's a victim. Y'all was like, no, he couldn't have been talking about Jake's. Well, Jake's on Sunday said, keywords, I'm not a perfect man. Number 2, he said, I can ask for forgiveness, and then God will forgive me. Now, later on, he did say, but in this case, I don't have to do that, because basically he's saying, I'm innocent. But the fact that he said, I can just ask for forgiveness and God will forgive me. He said something else. Those terms right there cause Prophet Manasseh to come forth again. And then not say Jake's name, but to further prove to you all that Prophet Manasseh is talking about Jake's, who tried to groom him. The receipts keep dropping, but ain't nobody listening. And I get it. Jakes is a very powerful man, but someone who we love like Carlton Pearson. It was difficult for people to not like Carlton Pearson, because even though he erased hell And even though he was speaking against the gospel of Jesus Christ, he was preaching a different gospel, which is an accursed gospel. They still loved him. They cherished him, said he was one of the greatest and generals in the church, and he going to heaven and all these things. Is because of the character and the charisma of people. You got to be careful of the charisma of people. That's how Jim Jones got you all to drink the Kool-Aid. Almost 1,000 people died on the island of Guyana. All right, and so it's difficult for a mother when a daughter comes to her and says, "I have been molested by your new boyfriend." He wakes up every night about 2 a.m. and he comes into my room and he molests me, and then he's back in your room. All right, mama, this has been going on for a while. And then guess what the mama gonna say? It didn't happen. Or, okay, if it did happen, you wore that short skirt. You should not have been. When you're taking a shower, you should have been fully dressed when you walked past and went to the bathroom. And so they begin to victim blame. That's what you all are doing when it comes to Jakes and all these other men of God and women of God, and whom you love and cherish. For y'all were raised. Jakes raised many of us. He raised us in the gospel. What we assumed was the gospel, but as I got further involved in the gospel, I realized that Jakes wasn't really preaching the gospel of Jesus Christ. He was a great orator. He was a motivational speaker. He was a big brother in a sense. He knew he had the gift of gab. He knew how to do those things. And so that's how he became the preacher of the pastor of the stars and America's pastor. You can't be America's pastor and preach the gospel of Jesus Christ. It's impossible to do that. It's impossible. Or Jesus Christ would have never been crucified. Everybody would have loved him. But the reason why he went to the cross is because he was preaching a message from his Father. Y'all understand? So Prophet Manasseh came forth, and here's what he said.
Literally hundreds of messages from adults to teens that were messaging me, telling me their story and what they experienced. A lot of people won't understand it if they never was affected by it directly or indirectly. And then you have another group that is just into pure worship. They're not seekers of the truth. The first thing I want to say is that there's been messages of people saying to me, "How do I get out of this lifestyle? I feel like I'm stuck in it because I'm vulnerable. This person's in a position of power. I don't have the I don't have the finances to get her a lawyer. I don't have the finances to get an attorney. They have threatened me. If I say something, they'll sue me. I'm this person, I'm that person." And so there's a lot of this demigodding that goes on with this. There's a lot of these psychological power games that takes place with this. And for a lot of people that are stuck in this type of lifestyle, it's their livelihood. This is how they pay their bills. Right. They are providing some type of service that might be being an adjutant, might be being a driver, might be being a massage therapist, might be whatever. But usually these are individuals that are providing some type of service or work in some type of service industry, a secretary, and they're being preyed upon.
Yes.
And they feel like if I say something, this will ruin me. I don't have the finances. I don't have the notoriety. I don't have a platform. And then it's the other thing, who would believe me?
Yes.
Who would believe me? And then there's another part of it that is connected to the shame. The shame part. Did I do this to myself?
Yes.
What did I do to make someone think this? What did I do to cause this to happen to me? What did I do to lead them on? There's a whole shame part. And the first thing I want to say is that you did nothing wrong. You did nothing wrong. And it's kind of hard a lot for me to say this, but not only did you do nothing wrong, but it has nothing to do with the way you look, the way how you dress. It has nothing to do with whether you're thin, tall, muscular, thick, skinny. Right. It has nothing to do with any of that.
That's right. You could be wearing overalls. You could look like not the farmer's daughter. She was scantily dressed, but you could have, a Eskimo coat on. It's not you. It is the lust that is within that man. Men have X-ray visions, and we can see through all that thick clothes and get right. We can see the shape of your body because we are very imaginative people. If that was not so, why would women dress the way they do to entice a man if they didn't think it has anything to do with the lust of the eyes? Why would a car company sell a very expensive car and then put a woman half naked on the car? What the half naked woman got to do with a car? Because they know how men think. Sports magazines selling golf clubs, they put in half naked women and the women are golfing to sell golf clubs. What does a naked woman got to do with golf clubs? You understand? So men are very visually minded. And women know that. They know it. But in this aspect here, he's telling you that I can't believe I'm just agreeing with everything Prophet Manasseh is. I'm agreeing with this man in this season. He's right. It's not about how much clothes you don't have or how much clothes you do have on. It has nothing to do with that. It's that individual who has lust in his heart for you. He is a predator.
One of the things that takes place in grooming is that there's a whole projecting out element where they project their sickness onto their victim. And they make the victim feel like it's you that's doing this to me. And one of the responses that you'll hear, you'll see, and it is a common predatory response is, I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect. And this statement is to incite a plurality to feel some type of sympathy for the actions or the behavior of that person.
I'm not perfect. So here's where he's talking about Jakes. And I see in your comment sections, I see you all talking about women too, yes. Now we're focusing on Jakes and what Manasseh's saying here. But Dana L. King, you're right about women. Let's be clear, it's not just the men he's saying here. What else he says? It's the women too. They can be just as aggressive. I have women friends. I have a bunker who talked about how the woman pastor was grooming her to the point where those panties went off. She never felt like she never was interested in a lesbian relationship with a woman, ever. She just never thought that. But because she was groomed in such a loving way by a woman, those panties went off. It just went off. So there's a lot of, so you're right, my brother, there's a lot of lesbianism going on within the church by these women pastors, these women evangelists, these women who are bishops. I'm talking about the closeted ones. We know about the open ones, but the closeted ones. And they groom the women. After I did the first TD Jake show, the women were coming in my inbox and telling me, it ain't just the brothers. This woman, groomed me. Before you know it, I'm shopping with her. Now, some of the women do it. They groom the women, but some of the women groom the men as well. I had a woman who was an evangelist who would ask me to take her places, She needed a ride. I had a car. She didn't. I would take her places and take her shopping. And one time we were in the mall and she said, I'm going to stop here at where's that shop where the women shop, where they shop with all the panties and all of the, where that place is. I forget the name of that store. All of the smells and the perfumes and the body, the bed body and beyond and all those stuff. Thank you, I Am Gold, Victoria's Secret. She said, I'm going to go in here to Victoria's Secret. I stood outside. There was a bench there. She said, no, can you come in here? I want you to see. I want to show you something. There's something I want to buy. I want to show you something. I'm like, okay. All right. And I went in there with her. And she went over there where the panties is. She held up some sheer red panties. She like, these are nice. Wouldn't these look nice on me? And my eyes got real big because I wasn't expecting it. I was like, first of all, how do I get out of this? Number two, you big dummy. You went in there with her. Now you going in, the cameras everywhere. We in a town, everybody know who you are. You walking into Victoria's Secret with this evangelist. How dumb are you? And I'm like, yeah, those will look nice on you. And I'm sweating bullets, and I'm like, okay, and I'm getting ready to walk back to. She like, no, these black pairs look too nice too. And she held it up and she stretches it like, and I'm like, all this time, I'm being groomed, and I just didn't see it. I'm saying this to say to you all, I don't care how smart you think you are. I don't care how intelligent you think you are. I don't care. I said yesterday, to the pure, all things are pure. So my pure mind was, I'm helping the evangelist out. She never said anything or did anything out of line that might have even given me a hint. But slowly, when you build trust, remember I talked about yesterday, acceptance, assimilation, and trust. Once you build those things, you're able to really talk to someone from the other side when you're trying to evangelize. Well, those tactics can work. Satan can use those tactics as well. Cross-cultural engagements. And so once she got me into that store, I'm thinking she's going to find some shoes. I'm like, oh, Victoria sells shoes. Okay. I like a woman's shoe. I like a nice woman's shoe. I can shop for a woman's shoe. Let me tell you, my daughter should tell you, I know how to shop for a woman's shoe. I don't know what it is. I don't have a fetish. Then again, I may have one. I don't know. Not in a gay sense of the word. I would not put one on me, but I like to see one on her. And she held it up, and I said, I'm being groomed. Ain't this about bleep? This ain't about nothing. And she was a very beautiful woman, and she knew she was beautiful. But I was like, no, I can't do this anymore. We need to be careful with the use of the groom word. She may have just been attracted to you and shot her shot. No, Brother King, she was grooming me, because it played out later on till it almost broke up the church. It split the church. And they told me, run, brother. You need to run, because she's Jezebel. She turned out to be a Jezebel. She was a preacher killer. And I was her sixth victim. He said, okay. Yeah, I was her sixth victim. And I like what you said, Dana King. Everybody's not groomed per se. When you go to Patreon in another 10 minutes, you'll see a video I put up about narcissists. Many people have narcissistic ways, but they are not narcissists. So when you watch that video, don't worry, y'all. It's in the free section. It's in the outer court. You'll know what I'm saying when you see that video. And then you remember this moment in the show. There are women like that who go through preachers. Yes, Schofield. Ooh, you got an anointed last name, Schofield. Man, you got a scholarly last name. All right, so let's go back.
As a way out. I'm not cite a plurality to feel some type of sympathy for the actions or the behavior of that person as a way out. I'm not perfect. I'll ask God for forgiveness. And yeah, we believe in forgiveness.
You see that? Two direct things straight towards, he's speaking to an audience of one.
But we also know that as long as the earth remaineth, there shall always be seed time and harvest. And so there are reactions to every action. And then you have other people that are oblivious to this, that says, well, why are you just saying this now? Why are you just saying? They don't realize the shame, especially when it's a person in a position of power or authority, let alone a religious figure that's supposed to be God's messenger. and then they have money and they have power, and they use that to scare their victims. This is very powerful. I just want to say that we see you, and let go of the guilt, let go of the shame. You did nothing wrong. You did nothing wrong. I'm praying for you. I love you.
You did nothing wrong. Okay. No, he's not estranged to his father anymore. Him, Larry Reed, and his father, they all came together, and so he's fine now. At least that's what I heard recently. He's okay. So let's go to the interwebs, and let's find something that might be interesting to you all. Then I'll play another video, and we're going to watch this video in its entirety. The grooming behavior of pastoral predators. This is part 1. This is from a website. What is it? Listen carefully. I don't know, Rogers. You can find this on Google. It's Mike Phillips with Julian Dahl. Shattering the Lens: The Grooming Behavior of Pastor Predators. All right. I'm gonna go to the bottom because it's long, but we're gonna go to the bottom here. Before going into detail on grooming stages and rationales for this behavior, allow me to give 1 or 2 sentences summarizing of the pastoral grooming behaviors I have seen through the eyes of victims and the testimonies of the offending pastors themselves. He says, I'll go through each of these in the next article. Number 1, exaggeration of credentials, achievements, and failures. Groomers will use their personal stories to exaggerate their accomplishments and highlight huge failures in their lives. They do this to impress and build trust in the victim. They're telling their story, but they'll never tell all of their story. They'll tell their story so it can build sympathy for you. Okay? But they can't tell all of it because it will give them away. All of this is very sad, especially when you can't really say for sure Carolyn Lee, amen, you're right. I'm with you there, Carolyn Lee. It all is very sad. So you have to listen to my opening. It is. I hate doing this. I hate it. But today I'm doing this for the victims who don't know what to do. They finally have an opportunity to talk about this stuff and get healed. So we're talking about it now because there's a lot of victims within my community, the Bunkers, within my family. I'm talking my blood family, the Joneses. They're victims at my church. And some of you might be victims. Some of you might be victims. So we're talking about it so that you won't be victimized again. Okay, that's number 1. They exaggerate their credentials. Number 2, confiding deep personal details. The groomer will often share details of their life which are so personal the victim will at first be surprised they are being shared. This is done to build trust. And guess what? That's the Sirwalterj Jones Show. I have been telling y'all my weaknesses for the past 10 years at least, and then a couple other years from the other show I've done. And over time I was doing that, not even thinking about building trust. Wasn't thinking about it. No, I was doing it because God told me to do it, because only just a few years prior to that, I wasn't telling nobody nothing. I wasn't, because I was ashamed of it. But then I started to open up a little bit more about my indiscretions and my crimes and my sins and my lusts and my weaknesses, and I was just doing it. And then I would go back and watch the show and be like, I shouldn't have told them that stuff. Why am I telling them that stuff? And the Lord said, keep telling it, because it's helping these people, that it's helping them. And it is building trust so that you can be a trusted person who can preach the gospel. And the people can hear you and they can hear your heart. And I was like, that's why I'm doing it, because the Lord put it in my heart to do that so that it can build trust. So Satan can use trust and acceptance And again, where's the book? If you don't have the book, get the book. It doesn't matter if you're in school or not. Cross-cultural servanthood. This is for people who are pure in spirit, pure in heart. Openness, acceptance, and trust and assimilation can be used to win a person to the Lord. But Satan can use these same skills to manipulate and groom someone to get them to do your bidding. So thank God I wasn't doing it to do someone's bidding, or by now, many of you will be saying that I'm a crook. Many of you who are watching me right now, especially you women, will say he's in my inbox trying to flirt with me, trying to get into my bed. By now, it's been 10 years. I would have done that by now. But you all are still here after all. Some of these people have been with me for years. And let me tell you, some of the finest women I know are the bunkers. Some of the finest, they wake up just pretty. Pow! Just gorgeous. Coca-Cola bottle gorgeous. They're gorgeous. And let me tell you, you won't find me in the inbox. Nope. I won't be DMing them. No text. No doing drive-bys, because I know a lot of them live. Nope. Because I get PO. They send me messages. They write me letters in the PO box. I know their addresses. I could drive by. Nope. Not me. I don't care how fine. I don't care how sexy y'all are. I don't care how sexy y'all trying to bring sexy back to the church. You miss me with that. I don't listen. I'm not trying to go to hell because you so pretty. You ain't so pretty for me to go to hell. So I keep trying to build trust so that you all can hear the gospel. So here, that disturbed me right there, because I was like, oh my God, that's me. Confiding deep personal details. Number 3, asking for details. You know, I'll never ask y'all for that. After sharing their own personal details, the groomer will now ask the victim to trust them with the intimate details of their life. This way, the relationship feels mutual. This is why you have to be careful and who you get to counsel you, especially pastors. Pastors who were counseling couples would then say, I'm going to counsel y'all separately. I'm going to counsel the husband in one session. I'm going to counsel the wife in another session. And then he counsels the wife. The wife begins to either fall for the pastor, or the pastor begins to groom the wife. And before you know it, they're sleeping together. And now we got a bigger problem in our hand, because they went to him because they trusted him. And then he decided he either wanted to groom the wife, or he might have wanted to groom the man. And then the man, who's never touched a man, before you know it, he's on the down low. Because that skill of grooming is extremely effective. And there are men who have told me, I don't know how I got into bed with that man. I don't like no man, but I don't know what it was. That is a spirit. That manipulative, alluring spirit is so strong. And if you ain't in your right mind, this is why Paul says, put on the full armor of God, so that you might do what? Put in the comment section. So that you might do what against who? It's important. And I told y'all which one of those pieces of armor that you're supposed to put on first. Which one Paul said put on first? He didn't say that the helmet of salvation, the breast, the chest, or the sword, or the feet shod. Nah, right down here. The belt. The belt. The belt. Number 4, excessive praising. The groomer, near the beginning of the relationship, will often compliment the victim. And they'll do it in a very nice, godly way. Yes, come on, Kristen. Withstand the wiles or the tricks of the devil. Yes. Number 5, critical and targeted fault finding. Here is where the groomer starts to play with the mind of the victim. They will often criticize one or more minor faults of the victim. It's a step process. Yeah. Hey, Michael Freeman. Good to see you. Extensive knowledge. Many groomers seem to have extensive knowledge of the victim very early in the relationship. If the victim had been paying attention, they would figure out the groomer had been researching them even before they were involved. That's important. That is Groundhog Day, the movie. I talk about that on Patreon, and it should be dropping in a minute. Y'all let me know. When I wanted a young lady, I studied her every move. I studied her clothes. I asked people who knew her. I didn't ask her, or that would have been a dead giveaway. So I asked people who were close to her, where does she like to go? What kind of movies she like? I needed specifics. And then while we're somewhere walking in the park or sitting down at dinner, I'll bring up that specific thing that no one else would have known. And she'd be like, oh, you like that too? Oh, yeah, I love that. Oh, I watch that all the time. Or I go there all the time. I love to shop right there. Right? And Cheryl, you know, the girl at the clerk, Cheryl. Well, how do I know about Cheryl? Because I found out from a friend of hers that Cheryl is her favorite clerk. And then Cheryl, you know, Cheryl was along. You know Cheryl? Oh, yeah, I know Cheryl. Me and Cheryl go way back. That's what he's saying here. Extensive knowledge. Extensive knowledge. In my book, I talk about that would be book number 6 or 7, the Men's Chronicles, the man, I call it the man book. I talk about how a player or a pimp is very patient. A player is very patient. He's extremely patient. He got time. Near the beginning of the relationship, the groomer gives the victim unfettered access to their lives. They answer texts immediately. They interrupt dinner to go out and meet with the victim. They allow them into their office on moment's notice. Look at that. You got free reign to him or her. As soon as you say hi, he say chew. He's right there at your beck and call. That's building trust. Man, Roger said, we thank God for your deliverance. We thank God. Man, I know. Groomer plays the victim. The groomer now plays the victim. The groomer mentions regularly how they are mistreated by others. If they are married, they will begin dropping hints on how they are heroic to putting up with their spouse's bad behavior. Yep. When a man cheats on his wife, he downgrades his woman. Yep, he talks about she's this, she doesn't do this, she don't clean, she don't cook, she don't make love with me, she don't do none of that. And then the girl he trying to groom, she feeling bad for him. Serotonin games, the groomer will cause the victim to get excited about their relationship and then reject them. Whew. David's son wanted his sister, remember? What's his name? What's her name? Is that Tamar too? What that girl name? His half sister? He wanted his sister. And she begged him. Yeah, Tamar. She begged him, don't do this. Because he acted like he was sick. And he said, now, Father, it's David's fault. It's David's fault. Have her to bring some porridge in there to the room with me. I want Tamar to bring it. He lusted after her. And she brought it in there, and then he attacked her, raped her, and then hated her guts afterwards because he had satisfied his lust. He climaxed in that rush, that anticipation was gone physiologically, and the serotonins and all of the what y'all call the pleasure sensors and all that stuff, they died. Those neural sensors. And then he turned around and hated her. And she felt really ashamed then. Well, the brother got even. The brother got even. Serotonin games. Family connections. The groomer will sometimes become close to the members of the victim's family. They may also encourage the victim to be friends of their family. All right. They'll get close to the family, and then what they're going to do is separate. They're going to separate the victim from the family. They're going to separate the victim from the family. Okay. Groomers and persecution. The groomer steps up the game from being victim to a new level. Groomers will pretend they are persecuted by others. They will express a false sense of hurt and betrayal, giving the victim the idea they need comfort. Come to my house. Please come to my house. I need help. All right, Patreon dropped. Good. They're hurting me. The Bible is something. Yes. Leave them them soap operas. You mean soup operas? Reversing the blame. Okay, this is a lot, y'all. This is a lot. Let's read this real fast. Reversing the blame, ministry recruiting. Oh man, that's ministry recruiting. Ask the victim to be involved in ministry. Oh, the groomer, the victim loves this because now they feel a sense of accomplishment. So they groomed them to be a part of the ministry. That was me right there. That I was being groomed into a ministry. A targeted use of scripture. Oh, I wish I had time. Extending timeline. The groomer will refer to their relationship with the victim as something which is going to last for, yes, you and I are going to be together forever. Intrusive questioning. Groomers will often ask more and more probing questions about the victim's sex life. This is what Manasseh said that Jakes did to him. Church details. The groomer will begin telling the victim more and more about the inner workings of the church. All right. Fantasy narratives. Once the relationship becomes sexual, the groomer will create fantasy scenarios where they will be able to be together and others will accept it. Others will accept it. One-way instruction. Once the sexual relationship is established, the groomer will never allow the victim to disagree with them or instruct them. Wow. Here comes the power. Isolation. The groomer will seek to separate the victim from their significant relationship with the church. Yep, there it is. I said that earlier up there. Boundary, a lip service. The groomer will constantly mention how important boundaries are for people while at the same time crossing every boundary. External critical evaluation. Groomers will often tell their victims about other women and their flaws. Prayer instructions. Groomers will sometimes use a prayer time together to give instructions to the victim. They will focus on something they want the victim to do for them by asking God for it. Reversing emotional direction. Near the end of the grooming cycle, the groomer will suddenly become critical of everything in the victim's life. This causes the victim, who has sold out completely to the groomer, to be desperate. Drug and alcohol use comes after that. Dealing with the end. If the victim tries to pull away or to reveal details of their relationship, the groomer may do one of the following: threaten to expose or harm them, threaten to harm the family, threaten suicide, mention how exposure would hurt both of them, their marriages, their children, their church, and God's work. This was me. When I got caught in an indiscretion with a woman at the church, she was getting ready to tell the pastor, and I did threaten to expose or harm them. No, I didn't do this one. Let's see, threaten to harm their family. I never did that one because that's not me. Threaten suicide. I never did that, but I did this last one. Mention how exposure would hurt both them. I wasn't in a marriage, but I was kind of married to the church. The work of God, my ministry, me being a minister of the gospel and all kind of stuff. Yes, I was doing this while I was a minister of the gospel. I was doing all of that. And so I understand all of this. This is disheartening. For those of you going through this, this is disheartening, and I'm so sorry. I really am. I'm sorry that this is happening to you. let's go to YouTube and let's play this last video. Although it is 8 minutes long, let's see if we can shorten it up. This is seven must know signs of grooming by a sexual predator. This is by Katie Morton. She's got about 1 million subscribers, a little over that. All right, and we'll give her credit for this right here instead of me taking notes from hers and stealing it. We cite our sources. Always cite your sources, people. Stop stealing people. Stop stealing. That's how y'all was stealing T.D. Jakes sermons. I mean, I was up under a man who was talking about some get ready, get ready, get ready. The Lord told me yesterday in my sleep, get ready. He told me to tell the people, get ready, get ready, get ready. And I said, he told you that too? Mm-hmm. Just like he told Jakes, the same way, in the same tonality and everything? Huh? No, the Lord told me that. Okay. Did he also tell you that the enemy is enemy? Yeah, he did. Oh wow, that's something else. The Lord is he don't have much. He's recycling sermons, ain't he? No, he told me that. Okay. Well, I just pray that these women in this church is loosed. Yeah, the Lord told me, woman, thou art loosed. He gave me that message last week, and I'm gonna preach that this Sunday. Yeah, the Lord sure don't have much to say, but he gave the same messages. Listen to this.
Hey everybody, today we're going to talk about grooming. What is it and how can we heal from it? Before I even define what grooming is or get into this information in more detail, I want you to know that grooming does not occur in all child sexual abuse cases. And also, it doesn't only happen in children. This can happen to us at any age. Yes. And I just want you to hear that first before I go into the 7 stages of grooming. Now, to define what grooming is, if any of you are thinking it has something to do with hair, that is not the case. What grooming is the process by which a sexual predator gains the trust of a child or their family in order to start a sexual relationship with a child in secret. And there are many stages to grooming, and honestly, everything I read had similar steps, but some broken into 10 stages, some to 12, some to 4. And so throughout all of the reading and research that I did, I came up with 7 stages of grooming that I think are important and kind of show you the process through which someone gains our trust and uses that against us to do harm. Also know that not everyone's going to go through each one of these stages, and that doesn't make your situation not valid or anything like that. These are just some of the common stages, but everyone's process and everyone's experience is going to be different. The first stage of grooming is identifying the victim. As a sexual predator, they could pick this based on the age or the way a child or teen or adult looks, or it could even just be vulnerable traits. It could be that the parents aren't around. It could be that we have really low self-esteem or have just moved there and are trying to make friends. There could be a lot of different reasons and ways that they identify a victim. And the second stage is gaining trust and access. And I don't want you to think that when someone's trying to gain our trust or access to us, that it's going to be done in an overt fashion. Often the sexual predators are very suave and smooth and may just offer a helping hand. Like, oh, I'll help put your bag in the bus for you. I'll help your mom load up the soccer balls from the soccer game. Or, oh, I'll come over and help tutor you for that. They'll try to do small things that seem quote unquote normal in relationships as a way to gain your trust. And so know that this isn't an overt action. This isn't something that we may notice right away, but it's done as a way to help our parents trust them if we're a child, and that's how they gain access to us, or have us trust them so that they're like a normal adult in our, unit, whether it's our family and extended family and friends. We think of them in a very trusting and normal fashion. The third stage is becoming important to the child or adult and giving them something that they need. This could be through manipulation, by telling the person that they're the only one that understands them and they're the only one that can help them. This could also be with children. They find they give them a lot of gifts. Maybe it's money to go get candy. Maybe it's a toy that they couldn't get otherwise, or certain equipment they needed for sports that their parents couldn't afford. They'll try to give them something or become so important and necessary in this person's life that they feel like they can't live without them or that they need to keep them around. The fourth stage is they will begin isolating you, meaning that they may offer you a ride home. Let's say it's a child that we're talking about and their parents always late to pick them up from school. They'll offer to call the parent and take them home instead. Or if you're an adult, they may say, oh, I'll walk you home. It's really late. That's kind of scary. I'd rather be with you. And they do this so that you are obviously isolated. You're with them and you're more vulnerable in those positions. So just be cautious about who you spend time with when there's no one else around.
If you have Southern parents, they told you don't eat it. You can't eat at everybody's house. Number two, my parents didn't allow us to sleep at everybody's house. No. If it wasn't someone that they knew, mostly it was always a family member. And unfortunately, family members are the ones who do the molesting and the raping. It's typically a family member or someone that the family do trust. But my parents were still trying to be careful, so they didn't allow us to eat at other people's homes, and no sleepovers. They just didn't do it. They didn't do it. So this stuff with grooming and this stuff with molestation and what have you, this is an age-old. This is not something that just happened over the past 10, 15, 20 years. Our grandparents was going through this. Our great-grandparents was going through grooming. They went through this. This is why you would see that when you go to the family reunion, you would see some strange stuff going on, some conversations happening. Or you look at the family tree. There's something. Well, who is this person? Who is this child? Or what happened to my cousin so and so over the summer? Now the kid is gone. The kid got moved to down south. When a teenager all of a sudden just got moved away, and that was something. There was a dynamic to that. There was some protection going on. Even they knew that the uncle did something to a child, and they sheltered the uncle by removing him. Telling him, you got to move. You got to move. You got to move. All kind of dynamics happened here. So our parents were doing their best to protect us by saying you can't eat at anybody's house.
The fifth stage is they'll begin creating secrecy around the relationship. This could be anything from no one would understand what you're going through, or I wouldn't tell anybody that. They'll start to think that you're weird or odd or crazy, or that something's wrong with you. They may also threaten to harm themselves or a pet or someone else that you love in your life if you shared any of the private information you've talked about or the relationship as a whole. They'll threaten harm or revealing secrets as a way to keep you tied to the relationship.
Yes, that young lady who was getting ready to tell our secrets, I was threatening to harm myself. Thank you for that super chat. I was threatening to harm myself. I was playing that I was sick because I wanted the sympathy, because I did not want her to tell the stuff that we were doing. So I wanted to build sympathy. All right. These are what predators do, and they're pretty good at it.
The sixth stage is sexualizing the relationship. And just like we talked about before, when it comes to gaining trust, this won't always be done in an overt way at the beginning. But even the smallest thing, like putting an arm over the shoulder, may give the predator some kind of sexual gratification. And these first stages of sexualizing the relationship could just be putting a hand on the knee, rubbing them on the back.
One of the most sensual things you could do is this. I remember standing at the organ. There was a young lady standing at the organ. It was after choir rehearsal. We all talking. Everybody's talking to each other. Ha, ha, ha. She's talking to someone. I'm talking to someone. But my hand is on the organ. Her hand is on the organ. Ha, 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 ha. Ba, 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 ba. How you doing? I really enjoyed that note. That's a high note. We laughing. And then she did this. I was like, oh, my God. That was her saying, I'm interested. Not only am I interested, your drawers need to come off real soon. I knew exactly what that was. Just a subtle. So when y'all say men are not groomed, please, please, please Mother Mayhem. That's how I got in bed with Mother Mayhem's daughter. Mother Mayhem told me to zip my pants up, but Mother Mayhem don't realize I was minding my own business. Your daughter came over to my car. Brother Jones, hey, I just want to know, do you like pie? It started with a pie. You take this pie. Yeah. Now, what was in the pie, I can't tell you what was in the pie.
You know, linking arms and walking together. It could be things that we don't consider to be sexualized, but the predator is taking it that way. They will also set up scenarios where it's normal to be naked around one another, such as getting ready to go swimming, or being in a locker room and changing before or after a game, or even going to a spa. They'll set up these types of scenarios so that you become desensitized to being naked around them because you don't think it's something that makes you vulnerable.
That's important right there. People, especially in family, they do tend to be a little naked around each other. Not completely naked, but, you know, even my daughter lives here and my grandsons live here, and my Chucky has an older daughter that comes and spends the night as well. Older meaning she's 9 or 10. All right. Now, my daughter's used to me wearing a robe. I never walking around the house naked in front of my daughter. I either have a pajama top and a pajama bottom, or I have my robe on. I have a very thick robe, and it covers my body. So she don't see my flesh, my daughter. She don't. And I don't see her flesh. She walks around with her robe too when she's going to the shower or whatever. Right? But when the young lady is over, I not only put on a robe, I put on my pajama top and I put on my pajama bottom when the young lady is over. That 10-year-old, that 9-year-old, I don't know how old she is. I cover up because I don't want anything in anybody to say nothing, even in my house. And I don't want her to get used to seeing me walking around, you know, in a way that only, you know, my daughter may see me. You know, I just don't want that. So I'm very careful. Even how I talk to her, even how I play with her and how I hug her, that young lady. I'm careful because I don't know what she's going through. Yesterday, when I was talking about how at the church that young lady we hugged every Sunday, and then when she hugged me this last time, she started rubbing on me and started patting my behind, and I had to pull her away. And one of y'all made the comment, somebody says, well, that's because she's, you know, girls are freaky too. But you have to understand that we don't know what that girl went through. That girl could be molested at home. She was always at the church. She didn't even want to go home. That's one sign right there that the house is a very uncomfortable environment. My sister adopted a young lady who, after church, when they would try to take her home, she did not want to go home. So when they finally would take the church bus would take her to the house, and she would get out and she would walk up the steps, she would act like she was ringing the bell. And she'd be like, oh, they're in there. I got to go around the back. Y'all can drive away. And then she would go around the back, and my father would drive away, or whoever was driving the thing. And then the next Sunday, the same thing. Oh, y'all can go. Yeah, I gotta start going around the back. So my father was like, okay, something ain't right. Why every time she go up the stairs, but then she tells us, go ahead, and then she go around. He's like, no, let me see what's going on here. And he waited, and then she went around the back, and he stood there. And then she peeked her head. After being in the back for a little while, she peeked her head. He said, no, something's going on. He gets out the car, and he goes and asks her, come get in this. Come. He realized something's going on. He asked her to come get in the van. I'm taking you back to the church. And when they had a long conversation, then she spilled the beans. She was unsafe at home. A lot of these people stay at church because they're afraid to go home. Y'all understand? They can't go home.
or is dangerous. In the last portion of this stage, if this is a child that is the victim, they will play on a normal child's curiosities and questions about the body and use that to further the sexual relationship and move it into actual sexual touch. And the seventh and final stage of grooming is controlling the relationship. Because once the sexual abuse is happening, all of the things that they've set up, they'll use that as leverage to keep us held in that relationship, whether it's financial. Remember I said they might buy us gifts or give us things we couldn't otherwise get for ourselves. It could be that they have more power over us because they're a boss or a teacher or someone in our life who can, harm us in such a way. It could also be emotional support. Remember, they're telling us that they're the only ones that can understand us and everybody else will think something's wrong with us. They've tried to keep everything we do together a secret. And because of all of that swirling around, there can be so much shame associated with this. Because at this point, the person who's been groomed feels like they're unlovable or that they should be embarrassed and they brought this on themselves. But I want you to know that that is not the case. All of these different stages are stages of manipulation. Yes. And stages of abuse. And know that if you have found yourself in a situation like this, you didn't ask for it. You are not to blame. Nothing that happened is your fault. We find the best way to process through this shame and to heal from the abuse and grooming is to find a therapist who can help. We also find groups to be really, really healing because often we think we're the only one. It was our fault, we brought it on ourselves. But to hear other people sharing their stories and experience, it can be really healing because we realize that we aren't alone, that it's not our fault, and that other people have gotten through it as well. Another reason that therapy can be so healing is that we're able to offer an objective perspective, a different view into what's gone on. Because like I said, back in those stages we were talking about, that they control the relationship to such a way that we don't even think that anybody else will think differently than what our abuser told us. But the truth is that what they told you was all a lie. And so having someone else come in and be able to talk to you about it in an honest fashion, give an objective perspective, can allow us to finally realize that it's not our fault and that we're not to blame, and we can start that healing process.
That was good. I enjoyed her. All right. I enjoyed her. Someone, let's see. Let me go into the comment section from yesterday. Evelyn Lucas, all right, says that's why I don't go to church. I don't know, Evelyn, if you're here. And then Joseph Chambers, who is here, says, may I ask, where do you go? And then Sophia Renee Hampton responded to Evelyn by saying, that's a bad answer, saying that's why I don't go to church. You don't go because you don't want to. That lie won't stand on Judgment Day. And then Dr. Vernita May addressed Joseph Chambers. The church is divided, you all, and says, we are the church and we can gather with 2 or 3 at home. The early church gathered in homes. You don't have to be in a ministry building with tons of people to gather. And surely you must know there are real counterfeit ministries in buildings. We're divided. We are divided. So there's people who can't stand church because of something that happened to them or of someone that they know. They see the shysters in the church, and what they've done was they have attacked the whole church, thinking that's every church, so they don't want to go. Every one of them make a great point. Each one of them make a great point. The one who says you don't go because you just don't want to go. You don't stop going to these other places who hurt you, but you'll stop going to the church. That's a great point. Also, the point that Dr. Vernita made about we are the church. You don't go to church. The church goes to a building. True. All of these things here shows us. Jake's really showed us how divided the church is. He's one of the players. When I go to certain places and they know I'm a minister of the gospel, my certain circles, when I go to worldly places, they know and they respect me. When I was working a 9 to 5, they did not invite me to the bachelor parties. I wonder why. They wouldn't invite me. if they knew that a stripper was going to be at the bachelor party, I didn't get the invite. But if there wasn't going to be a stripper, I got the invite. Mm-hmm. One time, I was invited. I wasn't a minister at the time. They invited me to the bachelor party. I sat there. The stripper came in, stripped down and start lap dancing and all that stuff. And I'm sitting there very uncomfortable because I'm like, how do I get out of here and look inconspicuous getting out of here? Because I felt extremely uncomfortable. And I was in sin during that time. I was deep in sin, but I felt so uncomfortable. I felt uncomfortable, which is a good sign. It's a good sign. And I found a way to sneak out the back door. It doesn't feel comfortable. When I go to my barber shop, I don't go there anymore because I have my specialty barber. When I went to the barber shop one day, every time I go there, it's like where everybody knows your name. What's that TV show? It would say Norm when he would walk in. Everybody knew him. Is it Cheers? My barber shop is the same way. I would walk in, they would be like, Preacher! Preacher. And the whole atmosphere would change. One man affected the whole room. Me. In the hood, I live in the hood, y'all. I live in Roseland, the wild 100s we call it in Chicago. It's rough where I live. But it don't matter. I walk in there in plain clothes. When I sit down, the whole atmosphere changed. One time I walked in there and there was a young man, there was a little boy sitting there watching a TV, and the TV was playing a type of pornographic film. Cussing and the rap music, but the women were showing their breasts, and the little boy he wasn't so much watching TV. He was enthralled in he was engaged in his phone playing some video game. And I walked in, the smell of weed everywhere, and they just having a great time. And then when I came in, I sit in the chair, and my barber you can hear him. Oh, how you doing, Mr. Jones? Preacher, I'm fine. He gulp. Yeah, how was church Sunday? I'm like, church was good. Nope. He's nervous because he don't know what to do. So his partner, who was cutting the hair, finally couldn't take it anymore, and he goes over there to the TV and turns the channel to the news or something like that. And he goes back. He said, I'm sorry, Reverend. I'm sorry, Reverend. I said, boldly, here's what I said. I said, it is not me whom you should be apologizing to. You should be apologizing to that little boy right there. Because I'm sitting here trying to figure out how long had this boy been sitting here watching all of that filth on TV? How long? So it's him you need to be talking to. Yeah, you right, preach. You right, preach. You right, man. You so right. You so right. I wonder when Todd Dexter Jakes, is that his name? Go to these P. Diddy parties. Is that the mentality? Everybody, you really need to stop stripping. You really need to change the content of the lyrics, all this cussing and all of this gangbang material. You need to, young lady, I can see all through. Do he talk like that? If he did, is it Thomas Dexter? Yeah. I will never go into an environment like that and just sit there and be comfortable, because if I sit there and be comfortable, the people will say, oh, he's one of us. So when I walk into the barbershop, I set the atmosphere. The thermostat changes to the point where they smoking weed, but when I come in there, they open up the door and the windows and they start doing this as long as I'm in there. Yes, they feel guilty. This is who we supposed to be. This brings me back to the sexual assault. Minister L. Brown, I sexually assaulted 4 times by the age of 15. This hurts, and I'm 50 now and still haunted what was done to me. Whew. I bless you. Naisha, you're gonna have to go to yesterday's show to answer your question. You don't need to go to those parties and I just answered your question basically. You're gonna sit there and just let all that stuff happen in front of you? Jesus never did that. He ate with the sinners, but he did not fraternize with their sin. He told the woman, now go and sin no more. I notice that you often throw up horn signs. Are you involved with fraternity, Mason? You know, we often laugh at those type of questions. Hardly, I'm not laughing at you. It's just that it's just amazing how a man can't talk any kind of way without it being a new Illuminati or some kind of fraternity or something. It just every now and again we'll get 1 or 2 people asking, am I a part of some type of a cult because I might have did this or something. Yeah, so the bunkers typically laugh at those type of questions because we don't believe in secret societies and fraternal orders, and we've done too many shows on that. All right, so if you see me doing stuff like this, it's because this is how I talk, and there's no affiliation to anything ungodly. It's just without those fraternal and those secret societies and what have you, then I guess this would be okay. Right. Dr. James said, keep your hands in your pocket. I can't survive with I can't talk with my hands, yo. Sometimes I walk around with my pectoral cross, and somebody stopped me in the store. Hey, you part of the order of the Masonic order? I'm like, Masonic order? No, man. What? He said, is that cross around that rope around your neck? Brother, how long have you lived in America? Have you never met a Catholic or a Presbyterian? It's not really, the pectoral cross is not really Catholic, but you never met a Presbyterian? You never met a Lutheran? You never met a Pentecostal man? How long have you lived in America where you've never seen a man wear a pectoral cross that wasn't a Muslim? And John said that might be a sign too. Come on, Janae says suspicious minds. Who's saying that? Elvis? Is that Elvis? That's why I'm studying psychology to help those who are dealing with the effects of trauma. Amen. Simone, our dearest Simone. I love her. Paraphrasing, he basically viewing church as a role he played on Sunday. Once he left, that the act stops. Perhaps it's the same for Jakes. Come on, that's Andrea. That's deep. Small minds try to what's that? Read into the hand gestures preachers use. Yeah, get the heck out of me. Danny, be nice. They didn't know. They asked a simple question. I don't think Naisha was being harmful. I don't think Naisha was being harmful. Were you, Naisha? I think she asked a question because maybe it's a lot going on in her circle with people putting up them signs and stuff. Why would you be throwing up Masonic signs as you were talking to God's people? And she don't know. She don't know. That's the problem, that the vast majority of so-called Christians are not following. Yes. Sharon. Amen. Amen, Naisha. Amen. All right. Patreon did drop. You can go over there, you all, and watch it for free. Blessing to you, James Gordon. It's always good to see you. Go over there and watch I played another video of the narcissistic ways. All right. Sit down with your daughters and your sons and your grandchildren and watch these videos with them. Okay. Share this and subscribe to the channel so that they can be equipped and be able to spot these people when they come by. All right. I'm so tired of Jakes. Who's on the phone? Who you talking to? It's Jake from State Farm. I'm so tired of Jake from the Potter's house. So tired. So tired. Can we talk about something else? Oh, Naisha was not the or was it, who was it? It wasn't Naisha? Who was that to ask that question? Oh yeah, I'm sorry, Naisha. It was Hartley. I'm sorry. I was saying Naisha. My bad. My bad. Yeah, I'm tired of Jakes from State Farm. I'm so tired of them. The white Jakes and the black Jakes from State Farm. I'm so tired of them. And that's my insurance company. I'm sick of them. Tomorrow, meet me at 1 p.m. and let's talk about The Color Purple. I want to go see The Color Purple. And let's spend the afternoon talking about The Color Purple tomorrow. Okay? 1 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. Midday Connection. Okay? There's some stuff in there that we've always seen. Remember, he did go to, and one of the disciples was a tax collector, and they didn't even like them back in the. Yes, we talked about that on yesterday's show, Naisha. Yeah, Zacchaeus. We talked about him. We talked about Matthew's house and the strangers, and he ate with the prostitutes, the publicans, or the tax collectors. All of those people he did, but he did not co-sign their sins. When he left their presence, they were changed. Do we change people when we leave their presence? That barbershop gets nervous when I walk in there because I am an ambassador for Christ. I'm different. Y'all ever seen videos where the Pacific Ocean meets the Atlantic? Y'all ever see those videos? Let me find it. Pacific Ocean meets Atlantic. Okay. Look at these videos. Y'all see how they don't mix? Let's see. I'm looking for right there. You see how they do not mix? Look at that. 2 different colors. And they will never mix. One side is the church. The other side is the world. Y'all understand? Look at that. One side is the church. The other side is the world. They don't mix. So when I walk into certain places, I always look different than the world. They can tell that I don't belong here. You don't belong here. When I went to, there's 666 people on here. Can another person either join or leave? Because there's 666 of y'all. I got to kill that number. When I talk to the judge, somebody call your boyfriend and say, watch the Sirwalterj Jones so he can get 667. When I stood before the judge or the lawyer, when I stood before the lawyer, when I first got my lawyer, talked to my lawyer, he says, you don't belong here. When I went to jail, I wasn't sentenced, but when I went to jail, my cellie, they call them cellie or cellmates, he said, you don't belong here. When I sat at the table to eat lunch with the inmates, the table, they was like, you in here? And when I finally got a chance to talk to the judge at the bench, he said, You don't belong here. You understand? This is what they should be saying to you all. Hey, you don't belong here. And you say, oh, yeah, I do. I do belong here. My job is to preach to you and get you out of here. God, I thank you for your presence, your blessings, and the people who are here. They came to hear the gospel and they heard it. I'm praying for those who are still being groomed today. They're still being groomed today. They're on their way into those stages of being groomed by a predator. Protect them, please, God. And shut the mouth of the predator. Remove the predator. Bind them. Shut their mouths as you did Zacharias. Just close his mouth. Blind him like you did Paul. Protect these little ones so they might be safe. Help us spread this message to those who are out there who are up in age right now and they still can't shake the smell of the predator out of their noses. Give them a fresh sense, an aroma in the air. Remove that memory so that they could be free, be delivered, be healed. I know you can, because you did it for me. Those who have questions, God, they're coming to you tonight in prayer. I believe you will hear them and you will answer them. And while they're still talking, you will answer. We thank you for what you're doing in their lives. Be with them, oh God, strengthen them. Because you sent your son to do it, and he did it. So now the people will need to lean on your son for strength. And the day will come when we'll see him in peace. So thank you, God, for your promises and the grace and the sweet communion of the Holy Ghost. We have it all. And we thank you for sheltering us and covering us and not allowing the hedge to be broken so that a serpent will bite us. Thank you for us being able to go into our private closets, and the wardrobe that's in there is the full armor of God, and we wear it every day. Thank you, God, for the instructions given to us, these apostles who gave us the way of life. We're in the way, not out the way, but we are in the way. They were called Christians at Antioch. They were of the way, and they got in the way, and many of them lost their lives because of it. So for Christ I live, and maybe one day for Christ I'd have to die. But I do this, God, so that I can see you in peace. So thank you, God. We love you. We'll give your name the praise in Jesus' name. Thank God. Amen. Take care of yourselves and one another. See you at 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. We'll do the color purple thingy. That should last a couple minutes. I ain't got much to say about it other than there's a message. There's always been a message in color purple. That was always there. But the movie that came out this week, last week of Christmas, showed more of what the movie in the original, the 1985 version, the 85, 86, 87, that version was hinting, but this version obviously showed more of it. Not surprised. Okay, I'm going, y'all. I'm gonna go upstairs and play with my grandbabies and eat some dinner. Go to patreon.com, will you please? We're over there already. I've already shot a video. Somebody's already watching it because I'm getting the responses. And for those of you who left messages, I'm going to go over there and answer your messages from yesterday and day before that. I haven't abandoned you. I'm going to go over there right now and answer your questions and comments and concerns and blah, blah, blah. By the end of the week, all 3 tiers should be up. The piano room, the upper room, and the financial room. Okay, they'll be up. For those of you who are in the upper room, you got access to all 3 rooms for $12. Let's get into some good Bible teaching and some piano playing and some relationship talk and some financial talk. $12 a month. You can't beat that. That's how much a day, y'all. $12 a month is how much a day. It's crazy. Because I used to eat and spend $20 per meal. $20, y'all, for lunch and dinner. I was spending $40 a day to eat food that I should not have been eating. And I'm charging y'all $12 a month for me to pour out my heart in every aspect of my life. I talk about politics, relationships, finance, the Bible, psychology, all that for $12. Yeah, I tell you, boy, I'm giving y'all a deal, and you still don't want to go over there. Luann said that's 38 cents a day. I'm not worth 38 cents a day. I love y'all. Take care.
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
The 4 Women That Men Desire by Sirwalterj is a women's guide to men. The author's endeavor to expose men fundamentally with his perspective on the types of women that men truly desire. He has meticulously penned a brilliant and controversial read, bold in its assertion that all women fall into one of 4 categories. Girl A, the side chick. Girl B, the mistress. Girl C, his soulmate. Or Girl D, his fatal attraction. And when a woman walks into a room, her category is showing. The 4 Women That Men Desire is funny, informative, and enlightening. It is a quick read and a must-have for your library. Head over to Amazon.com for your copy.
Goodbye. 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 Enjoy yourself. Goodbye. 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 Goodbye.